Welcome to the webinar training series for the Equals 2009-2011 Mathematics curriculum. In this webinar, participants will be provided with an overview of the Equals Technology Lesson Center. If you have any questions regarding Equals Math, you can contact the curriculum team by email at curriculum@ablenetinc.com. Please feel free to contact us for additional support or follow-up questions. Remember that implementing the Equals curriculum will take time, and one of the most important steps to being successful is to know what materials you have and how to organize them. Let's get started. The Equals Technology Lesson Center can be found on the AbleNet website, www.ablenetinc.com. From our homepage, navigate to the Resources drop-down menu, and be sure to select the correct link for your version of Equals. In this case, it will be the Equals Technology Lesson Center, copyright 2009 and 2011. This is the Equals Technology Lesson Center dashboard. There are two ways to locate and navigate materials. Let's become familiar first with the layout of the dashboard. Along the top, notice there are buttons to identify a chapter, section, and lesson, and gray lesson components can be found below. Along the left-hand side, there is a folder window which houses all materials available on the Equals Technology Lesson Center. The first way to access materials is to use the buttons along the top. As an example, I've selected Chapter 2, Section C, Lesson 4. Notice how the lesson components below have become activated. Once you input a specific lesson, you can then select a specific lesson component. The second option is to use the folders along the left-hand side to locate a specific work mat, poster, or student tool. Each folder is labeled. Use the labels to locate the materials you need. When I click on a folder, all the materials located in that folder will appear in the box below. Let's practice the first option of selecting a specific lesson to locate materials. On your dashboard, select Chapter 2, Section C, Lesson 4. From the activated lesson components, select Explore. You will now be taken to a page showing all of the materials available digitally that are used on this page of the lesson. Notice there is the theme poster, a work mat, and content posters. Let's select the Ocean theme poster. Once you select a resource, it will appear in the workspace. To return to the Materials selection screen, to reset the entire Equals Technology Lesson Center, simply refresh your browser. You can now pause the video to practice navigating the Equals Technology Lesson Center dashboard. Next, we will be reviewing some tools: the blank workspace, resizing tool, duplicate option, adding a tone, and deleting materials. As we move into this sequence, make sure you are on the Home Dashboard page. The first tool we will review is the blank workspace. Click on the blank page folder, then the blank page below to open a blank workspace. You now have a blank workspace to place images or additional materials. When you place an image on the workspace, you will notice three lines in the upper left-hand corner. And when you move your mouse on top of the image, three icons will also appear. The three lines in the upper left-hand corner are used to resize the image. By clicking and dragging your mouse, you can make the image larger or smaller. Looking at each of the three icons a bit closer, the first is a music note. This gives you the option of adding a sound effect to that item. You have a choice of 6 different sounds to choose from. The next icon is the plus icon. The plus icon creates a duplicate of that item. It is important to note that when you duplicate an item, it will also duplicate any changes you have made to that item, such as any sound you have added to it, or if you have resized it. This is a very handy tool for activities where you need multiples of certain items, such as when building a graph. The final icon is the X. This will remove the item from the workspace. You can now pause the video to practice creating a blank workspace and making adjustments to the images. Now we can look at the rest of the tools available in the Equals Technology Lesson Center. To activate the text box, click on the box with the T. Clicking on the text box tool will place a text box on the workspace. You can move the text box around by clicking on it and dragging your mouse. You can resize the text box by clicking and dragging the top left-hand corner, and you can type directly inside of the text box. The next tool we will look at is the Spotlight tool. Clicking on this icon will black out the entire screen except for a circle. You can move the spotlight around the screen, as well as resize the spotlight. For some students, looking at the posters or multiple objects is visually overwhelming. When using the spotlight feature, you have the option to focus only on what you want the students to look at. The next feature to discuss is the search box. Use the search box to locate an image that may be available on the Equals Technology Lesson Center. If there is an image related to or associated to the word you searched for, the images will populate in the box below the folders. In this example, I typed baseball into the search box. The images in the box below are all related to the baseball game theme. Scroll through the images to select the ones you would like to use for an activity. The next feature to discuss is the Save and Load feature. You have the option to save activities you created in the Equals Technology Lesson Center. The save process will be slightly different depending on your browser. To save an activity you have created, click on the Save icon. This will allow you to choose a save location or download the file immediately depending on your browser. Once the file is downloaded, it will have the default name of notebook.data. You may want to rename the file to reflect the activity you've created. When it comes time to open that activity, click on the Open File Location button. Navigate to the file you have saved and select it. The activity will load into the Equals Technology Lesson Center. Towards the left bottom corner of the web page, you will notice a darker gray rectangle. This is the Shade tool. By clicking on this tool and dragging it upwards, you will cover up the folders along the left-hand side of the screen. You can pause the video now to practice using the search box, text tool, spotlight, save and load feature, and the Shade tool. The Equals Technology Lesson Center also has specially formatted switch accessible work mats for students that access the computer through the use of a switch. Open a switch accessible work mat to begin. To use switch access, you will need a computer to switch interface such as the Hitch 2.0 and 2 switches. The switches need to be set up to activate the space and enter keys on your keyboard. If using the Hitch, you would need to plug a switch into the S1 and S2 ports, then change the mode so the switches activate to the corresponding keys. This will allow students to scan images with the spacebar using switch 1 and select the image they want to use with the enter key using switch 2. These switches allow students to be more independent with their choices and interact more with the technology. It is helpful for teachers to experiment with this part of the technology ahead of time so they can set up successful activities for students as they are being introduced to this feature. Now that you have the switches set up, you can open up the Widget tool. Locate images you would like the student to choose from and drag them to the Widget tool. Now the student can use the switches to add images to the switch accessible work mat. Additional support for the Equals Technology Lesson Center can be found in the Equals Technology Lesson Center Instructions PDF and your members-only content. As we conclude this webinar, I would like to thank you for your time today. The Equals Math curriculum provides consistency and support as students are introduced to new math skills. If you have any questions, please contact a curriculum team representative at curriculum@abledoninc.com. We look forward to hearing from you.